How's your day been so far?
Well, okay, so like I try to go to the store with the kids on Saturdays
Yeah.
and it's a mess, but mostly because I still have anxiety about it because I'm a single mom on a budget. So like
Mm,
Michaela gets her little basket and she starts throwing everything in there and I'm like, but what if we get to the register and I don't have enough money? But then I have to remember like I don't live that life anymore. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So yes.
That was something I remember like growing up, and my mom and we would go into the grocery store and we'd be waiting in the line, and it was time to pay for the groceries. And she'd pull out her food stamps with her little book. It was a little book of
Mhm.
food stamps, and she'd find her 5 or her 10 or whatever. And I was always like, I was a kid, I didn't know anything, but I was embarrassed because I'm like, like we're poor, and we're like, it's almost a stigma. Like if you're poor or if you're going to be living using government help, then you're like trash or you're
Mhm.
not nothing. And so I was
Yeah.
always uncomfortable with that because it always made me feel, and I was just a kid. I didn't like know anything about government or spending or anything like that. But there's a stigma that comes along with it. So
Mhm.
now I can go to the store, and I don't go to the store. I haven't been to the store since February. But
Right.
I know what I'm spending money on, but I could go to the store before that and like I could just grab something and pay for it, and I didn't have to worry so much about like the costs. But
Mhm.
but then you got to be careful because if you get to the point where you start to spend too often, too much, then you start to run into issues because then you become an overspender, and then you start to
Yes.
spend too much money, and then you start to go into debt at that point.
There's a
Mhm.
double-edged sword. It's like there's something on both sides. Like you
Yeah,
must find that balance.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So we were talking about like the topic what we were going to talk about today. You were wanting to talk about the devil,
Hmm.
just you're like, let's talk about the devil. Yeah. So like, tell me about that like for a second because we can chat with about that for a second.
I don't even remember what it was that triggered me to. Oh, because we were talking about the video size when I was uploading, and you were like, "Girl, don't get stressed." But I feel like a lot of people don't realize that like whatever's causing them the most stress,
Mm.
like to me, like that is the devil in your life. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like that's what you need to work on. That's what you need to be healing and dealing with. So like that's why I wanted to get your thoughts on it because like what do you even think about like the devil of the Bible?
hmm I think, well, when you go back to like the biblical text and when you go back to when the text was coming together, because a lot of people don't realize that the Bible just didn't drop out of the sky and fall into the church's lap. Like some people actually believe that. They believe it fell from the sky and there was a complete text that had everything in it about God and about whatever. And it wasn't. Like the Bible is based on a bunch of books that were Jewish texts, and there was an old religious belief system. And then here we had Jesus come along, and Jesus was like, "Hey, I'm here to bring the new word. Like what we've been following and what y'all been thinking is going to work for y'all isn't really going to work for y'all. There's so much more to it than what you believe, and you let me empower you." And so he was trying to empower people, etc. And then that went out and started to spread, and there was different factions and different groups that thought that they believed the true way, and which is the same shit we have today. So then
Right.
fast forward 100, 200, 300 years, you start to get closer to where the Council of Nicaea happened, where Emperor Constantine got everybody together and said, "Hey, y'all all have different beliefs about Christ and the beliefs of Christianity. So let me bring it all together. Let's kind of put something together and create one source so that everybody can stop fighting
Mhm.
and we can just go off of the one source." So they decided, why we're not going to do away with the old religious beliefs because we don't want people to feel like this is just something made up and there's no authority to it. We want to use the old religion to kind of back up the new religious beliefs that Jesus was starting to bring about, which is they weren't even religious beliefs; they were spiritual philosophies and
Right.
spiritual beliefs and practices. So they tacked on the original text from the old world
Mhm.
religion and all these different belief systems that have really nothing to do with Christ. And then they tacked on the New Testament to that. And they say, here we go, guys. Here's the one book. Here's the one source. Go for it. So when you think of the devil, I don't even think Christ mentioned the word devil
Mhm.
or Satan in any of his beliefs. Because if you go over the oldest texts that mention anything to do with Satan or the devil, there's no mention of it from Christ. That's
Mhm.
all stuff that you kind of bring in from like the newer beliefs after Christ existed from the followers and the
Mhm.
and then you also mix in some of the old beliefs. But there was different ideas about the devil, and some of the older beliefs were that we all possess this devilish being within us, and that we're a combination of these higher energies or higher angelic beings, and then we're the devilish beings, and they exist. That's why where you get that idea of like you got the little devil and the little angel on your
Yeah.
shoulder, because it's all possessed within us. And so at some point they kind of messed with that and they created it as like an external being that's separate from you, where it's
Yes.
this
Okay.
like demonic being with red horns and whatever. And at that point they were trying to kind of create a bad guy, because throughout all history,
Mhm.
if you look at all movies, all films, all plays, there's always the evil person or the bad guy. There's always that, right? There's the heroine, and then there's the bad guy. And so they needed to kind of prop up Christ to make Christ feel like he was the good guy, because they wanted everyone to jump on board with that. So they started to kind of detach this idea of a devil and created this separate being. And so over time, it actually became a real energy that people now, when they think of the devil or they think of Satan or whatever, they actually
Yeah.
believe this being exists as an actual being. And in
Hmm.
some ways, that is true, but not necessarily in the way that we think, because in life, we are the church. We bring
Yeah.
the beingness of God into this world. We are the authority of God in this world, which is why, don't pray to God to fix the shit that you should be fixing yourself, because you are the authority. You are God in this world. You are the representation of divinity here. Why are you going to be asking God to fix something when you made that yourself? You created the situation or the circumstances that brought this about. So it's up to you to fix it. God will support that
Hmm.
process, but don't ask God to fix your shit for you, because that's not the place of God,
Hmm.
right? So
Right.
now within us, we have both aspects of divinity. We have the highest form of beingness, which is love, that purity, that love, and it exists in all of us, every single one of us. And then we have the part
Hmm.
of us that is very connected and attached to this world, to this reality, and all of the horrors that go along with it.
Yeah.
And so when you think of like the devil, when you think of like darkness and evil and etc., don't disconnect yourself from that, because we are a part of that as well. That's a part of us. We've created it here. We
Right.
have produced that here. And so there is nothing that exists outside of us. We are it. So everything that we see around us
Yeah.
is a reflection of our being. And when you think of something like a devil or something like a demonic being, and people will, they won't argue with me on this, but I'm coming from a spiritual place, and I'm
Hmm.
using the teachings of Christ and the teachings of the masters to understand this. But it's something that we actually create and continue to manifest in our beingness. And if you get enough people being this lower vibratory energy because of their thoughts, their emotional reactions, their emotional
Hmm.
beingness, their physical actions, you start to have that energy come together, and then we start to have phenomena that associates with that. So for me, the
Yes.
devil is not an actual being, but it is because we've created it, and we continue to
Hmm.
pump energy into that by our own beingness, and it's a part of us. If we stopped existing on this physical spectrum, there would be no devil, because it exists within each and every one of us, and we have to make that choice every day that we go into the world and that we live our lives, whether we're going to amplify the light or we're going to amplify the dark. Either way, there's no right or wrong choice, because we are ultimately accountable to what we've created.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
So
Queen.
that's the simple answer there, right there. Which actually brings me to the next topic, or the next thing, because I was having a conversation with Kendall last night, our friend Kendall, and we were talking about like the idea of monetization, and how is it okay to monetize spirituality? Or you've got all these people who are out in the world, they are pretending or acting like they're the spiritual authority, and everything that they do is monetized. And we were
Hmm.
discussing, like, is it okay to monetize spirituality? And the reason why that came up is because we were talking about something that we're working on, and some of the projects that
Right.
we're doing. And he was like, well, if you create this and you create this, then it should be like a sell, it should be an upsell to something that you can offer them to buy. And what I told him is like, no, I don't. It's like, for me, if I am here to serve humanity, it's not, I'm here to serve humanity as long as I can make $1 or I can make $1. It's like, I'm here to serve
Hmm.
humanity. Yes, I have the right to earn a living while I'm doing it, but that doesn't give me the right to take advantage of everyone and take from them because they see me as a spiritual authority and they need answers and they need help.
Mm.
And so everything that I do for people in any way, shape, or form should be somehow leading to them giving me money or bringing me more money. So
Yeah.
that's where it gets tricky. And so for me, it's like I am here to hurt. I am here to serve. I am here to give. I am here to honor the contract that I have with God, where I'm here to serve humanity in the best possible way that I can. So anything that I know, anything that I've learned, anything that I have been through, I'm going to use that to give humanity as much of what I can as possible. But to try to charge for every bit of that, I'm not okay with that. And you got these people like, and I'm going to use a person as an example, and you know, she might be a very nice person. I'll use Gabby Bernstein as an example, because for me,
Hmm. Hmm.
she's an example of this. Where if you look into Gabby Bernstein, almost everything she does is monetized. She may offer a little free a little free mini lecture here. She may offer, you know, a little free something there, but it's all leading back to an upsell. Like, if you read this, by the way, go over here and buy this. If you want to be part of this lecture, be a part of it, but we're going to talk about how you can buy this package while you're doing it. And I don't believe in that, because I believe that you're going to teach and give to others and serve humanity. You should be doing it without this feeling of like having to be paid back in return. And it's really about loving and loving purely, not loving because you're going to get something back. So it's almost this idea where you can make money off of every opportunity to help humanity or to serve humanity. It's about monetizing every single thing that we can monetize, and I don't agree with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. And I feel like a lot of people will look at you sideways if you, the little Skype thing just showed up on my screen. So like it will look at you like you're crazy if you're like, yeah, I'm just giving away stuff, because they're like, well, I need to pay you. I'm like, no, this I'm giving to you.
Yeah.
This is for you. You know, like
Yeah.
especially like when I read cards for people, I don't charge for that, because I'm like, I'm just connecting and giving you what it is that you need to know, because my
Mm.
service is totally unrelated to that. Like if I'm giving you that information, that's for you,
Mm.
you know? So like I absolutely, I think there's a line that you toe, because like I want to earn and I want to give information that people can absolutely pay for. But then I'm like, well, am I turning into one of those people? Do I want to,
Mhm.
make sure that I'm not hurting others? But I'm like, all this free shit that's going on my platform, I wish
Mhm.
somebody would come at me like that. Like I don't get paid for podcasting, or like absolutely not. Like when I write a blog, that's just me giving it to you. Like I don't
Right.
have ads rolling through there.
Right.
Like I just think, and okay, and so here's a major issue in I guess, the Black spiritual community. And this is like a lady came to me the other day, and she was like, I'm not sure who I am or what I supposed to be doing. And she told me that she had paid a Babalawo $500 to tell her what she was supposed to be doing with her life, which only
Mhm.
she can really define this from
Yeah.
her connection,
Yeah.
But that made me so sad. So I was like, well, here, like I just told her in an email what she could do herself. And then I sent her on to another woman who is a mentor for exactly what she's trying to do. And that's really where I do most of my work, as a
Mhm.
conduit for all of y'all. Like if there's somebody who is trying to understand their gifts as a medium, like I have a friend, he's like, I feel like ghosts or spirits keep coming to me. I'm like, okay, well, he's for Ferny, like there are different people doing different things. And so like,
Mm.
I feel like that's part of my gift, is the people coming, and I just send them to the folks that are going to be helping them. Because what I do is not defined by any type of spirituality, I think, that's out there yet.
Mm.
So it's kind of tough for when people come to me for me to tell whether or not they're for me. It's like a specific type of person. So I'm like, well, I'll send you over here,
Yeah.
because I'm like not going to be soft and sweet. Like I'm going to be showing up in your inbox like, excuse me, you're fucking up right now. This is going to take
Right.
a specific type of person, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, it kind of like, it's funny because Ed and I, my partner, we were talking last night about it, and he was like, "Why are you? What, you look perturbed or you look irritated?" And I was like, "Yeah, because I got into a conversation about Gabby Bernstein. Don't mention that bitch to me. It's like, and I was all fired up over Gabby, which is funny. I don't know her personally. She might be a really nice person. And I was going online looking to see what she offers. And I mean, she does blogs
Mhm.
and she does offer some things that I guess you can consider to be free, but everything is tied back. She's a money making machine. It really is about how can I make as much money as possible with every possible connection to you that I have. And I just felt
Mhm.
icky with that because I don't. I mean, her heart may be pure, but if you're in a position where you have a lot of this extra that you can offer and give to people, you should monetize all of it. It's one thing again to make a
Okay.
living because I have to make a living. I have bills to pay. I have people that I employ, so I've got to continue to do what I got to do to support that. But at the same time, like I'm not trying to make everything about the money. And not only that, but I also feel like it's really like it's a big spiritual law that if you are going to
Mhm.
serve humanity and if you want to align with the highest purpose possible, you have to connect with the purest form of love and giving that you can, which means do not give just to get back, do not give just to receive, just give. Just give. The universe is going to find a way to take care
Yeah.
of you. Don't worry about how you're going to get taken care of. Just focus on the giving. And
Yes.
it's not giving like out of obligation because a lot of us have learned how to have been conditioned to give out of obligation. Like you should give because the church tells you to, or because your mom taught you to give, or whatever. No, give because you feel this beingness within you that if you aren't giving, you are robbing those who are the most in need of having something that they may actually need
Yes.
to get through this place, to get through this reality. And living this human life is not an
Mhm.
easy experience to go through. So it's there's this purity that comes along with that giving. And so you have to balance it out. You have to balance it out. You can be
Mhm.
very successful, you can do well financially, you can have a really incredible business, but also if you really are coming from a place of like true authentic spirituality, you better find a way to give of the most highest
Mhm.
and give of the purest form because you have to balance it out. If you don't balance it out and you're just about the money, at some point something's not going to work for you. At some point, it's almost like the universe saying, "Hey, here's the road, here's the path, go for it." But if you don't stop
Yeah.
and give someone some of the cargo that you're carrying, at some point, because you may not realize is that every time you stop, you're also you're also planting seeds that will affect everything beyond you. But if you just focus on where you're going and what you're getting to, you might find yourself ending up down a really lonely road that doesn't lead to anywhere.
Mhm.
And you missed an opportunity
Right.
to connect with something that was beyond yourself, with every person that you could have touched or every person that you could have given to. So I was worked up
Mhm.
yesterday. I was pissed. I was like, "Don't talk to me about." And it's like again, like I don't know her, like I don't know nothing against her personally, but it's just the feeling of this. It's like if I sign up for this, it's a mini lecture, but then it leads you back to buy this. This is $3,000. This is like,
Yeah.
what's so fucking different about that? Going to like some of these curanderas or some of these people on the side of the road where they tell you you're cursed or you got dark energy around you, or
Yeah.
if you don't pay me $5,000, you're cursed for the rest of your life. Like, bam,
Bam! Bam!
like I mean, for me, like, bam, that's a bam moment because I'm like, no, 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 no. You are trying to take advantage of someone's suffering, and because of this,
Mhm.
like, no, I'm sorry, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I just think you don't have to charge that much because this really, like we both are always saying, when you are connected with yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
information be there. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So to charge $5,000 to understand yourself is really, really wrong
Yeah.
because some of these people, like you said, it is really difficult to survive here.
Yeah.
For some of us, especially whenever you have mental health issues or just carrying all your trauma with you, your next stop before after you try to reach out to somebody could possibly be suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am like, well, let me see if Gabby can help me, or sorry, I don't know her either, and I get there and it's
Yeah.
$5,000, I'm gonna be like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna go to the garage and turn the car
Mm-hmm.
on because I'm never gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Not for
Yeah.
$5,000, especially when you only have five.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, what really gets me also is like the churches, because I think that the churches have become so corrupt. I mean, you got all of these, you've got people who don't have jobs right now. Their bills are like, piling up. They're not paying bills because they can't afford it. They got to choose between food and, a bill. And so they can't really it's not even a choice for them. They're trying to just survive. And then you've got all these churches that just got bailed out and were given millions, billions of dollars. And first of all, they're not supposed to even be connected with anything to do with the government because it's supposed to be very
Right.
disconnected. There's a reason why it was put in that way. But all these churches got money. I don't see
Mhm.
all of the coverage. I don't see all of the expressions of honoring God and Christ from these churches anywhere. Like, okay, if you just got $2 or $3 million, you better not use that to pay for your lights to hold services on Sunday. You need to use that to, yes, you can pay your staff, but you better start getting a food drive together. You better start providing services for the people who don't have that money. You know, you need to start filtering that out to the people, because this is not about the church. If the church has to fail for the people to survive, then let the church fail for the people to
Right.
survive, because the church is to serve the people, not to serve itself. And so it's got to be about the people. And so I'm hearing all of that and just woo, piss me off, because it's like, no, like you have to serve people. You're here to
Yeah.
serve people. If you call yourself a church, actually, it's funny because Ed was like, babe, you should start your own church, because you can set
Remember we talked
the
about that
example.
too.
Right. You can set the example and you can start teaching these people how to like love properly. And I'm like, well, I don't know, because I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm an authority in that way to
Mhm.
people. I'm here to empower people, not to be the source of power for them. I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
But which is why I am working towards creating an organization that will be what you can consider a church. But these churches are here to serve the people. And if you got money from the government, and you should have never even got that to begin with, these people should have got it because they can't even pay their bills. Okay, you need to find a way to filter this out to those people, because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Like what? Where is that? Where is that? Like, this isn't about getting together on Sunday. This is about helping people to survive every single day. They can't even survive every single day. What the point? What's the fucking point of getting together on Sunday and have them? And not only that, you're probably going to ask them to pay you money or to give you money on Sunday as well to help you support the church. Again, it's like, it's not about the church. It's about the person. It's about the people. You know, there's a reason why Christ had his services outside in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
Because he knew damn well that if you create a house or you create a structure and you empower
take care of
that,
it.
and then you take away the power of the people and you start to disempower the individual, because they are the church, they bring that with them. So
So just let me say this real quick, and then you can kick me off so you can talk to your folks, because everyone's asking. They want to know about their uncle and
Yeah.
everybody else.
yeah.
But I think the issue just goes back to the person who created the dollars, because we really don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we want to live here for real, we can trade our energy, our services, you know, and that way we're really living in love, because, okay, well, I have to be at my highest vibration to do my work that I know I have to do to get what I need to eat. It's not like everybody's hustling for the dollars. Like, someone made that money. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But what do you mean? Wait. Go back to that, because you were saying, you know, like trading and all that other stuff. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Well,
break
yeah.
that down.
Bartering, like
Bartering,
whatever
yeah.
your services, whatever you're good at, whatever you can do, you know, like we could live that way if enough people were like, yeah,
Well, but
let's
yeah,
do
but not
it.
everybody.
But like everything is based around the money.
Yeah, but not everybody's going to have something to offer. Not everybody can have something to offer. I mean, you've got some people who are debilitated. They can't do anything for nobody, you know? And it's like, what about those people? They can't trade for something. They can't barter something. They're still going to need some way to be supported. You know, I think that in being a world, and I'm going to say world because you can say country, but I think we're at a place in our world as a civilized society, that we should be able to take care of each other and actually know
Right.
that that's important. Like, I think at some point people got hooked on the idea that only they matter and nobody else's needs matter, nobody else's worries matter, nobody else matters, I only matter. Like at some point we got so stuck on that idea, on that mentality, that it's all about just the individual. And yes, you should take care of yourself, you should make sure you're okay, you should make sure you have what you need. But at the same time, when you're on a planet where you have so many people suffering and starving and being raped and being killed and being, you know, violated and violence and all this other stuff, we have an obligation to help people, period. It doesn't matter really what country you're in or what country you're from. Like, if you're going to consider yourself to be a spiritual human being, an enlightened human being, we have every opportunity on this planet to support each other and to really create at least the basic standard of paradise, which is you don't have to worry about medicine, you don't have to worry about food, you don't have to worry about shelter. And community comes along with that, because community is a part of
Right.
that. When you care about the other person, community becomes a part of that. We have every resource to be able to do that, and yet we're still like struggling with just like me, 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 me. No, no, no. I'm only going to take care of these people because they're part of this political party. I'm only going to take care of these people because they're part of the same race. I'm only going to take care of these people because they are choosing not to be ghetto and they want to make something better of themselves. Like, there's all these like tribalism mindsets that continue to separate us. But when you get down to it, I believe by nature, people are loving, compassionate beings. And it's a default. It's a default for us. But when we fill our heads up with these different separating identities, we start to create the hell, and we start to empower the devil within all of us to separate and to focus on only what we can gain from the situation. And so, yeah, we can trade. Trade is the basis of like the economy. Trade is the basis of the economy. But I think that the things that we shouldn't have to trade for are the basic things that we can do something about right now. And if anything, the churches should be setting the example for this. The organizations in the world that align themselves with the beingness of God, that are supposed to set the example for Christ and for Christianity, for compassion, for love, should be setting the example for this. And if anything, these churches should have gotten together and said, we are holding food. We're doing soup kitchens. We're doing clothing drives. We're doing whatever. We're going to provide resources to y'all because this is a crisis. This is a situation beyond anything we've ever seen before. So let's do something basic that we can provide people, that we can give to people. And I think that's where we're running into a lot of inconsistency there, because people are calling. It's almost like the Lakewood Church scenario where, we had the hurricane. You got people who ain't got homes. They ain't, what are you doing? Like, you're a church. You've got this massive facility. And yeah, maybe you don't want your church to be completely destroyed because you got people staying in there who may not have manners, who may not know how to take care of shit. Yeah, maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to, hold to the church in purity for the people who are going to come on every Sunday. But you're still a church. You're still promoting yourself as the representation of God and of Christ here. You're supposed to exemplify everything that stands for. And the time you're supposed to exemplify it is in this moment when there is crisis, when there is nothing else for people to turn to. This is the moment that you have to rise and prove yourself worthy of the words you speak and just show it. And it's not happening. We're not seeing enough of it. I'm sure there are plenty of churches that are helping, but there are more churches that are not and doing enough for the people that they're here to serve. Regardless of whether they're Christian or not, it's not about who you are or what you believe. It's about the humanity of it. The humanity of it. I'm ready, girl. Like, I'm ready to like get that example starting to be set, because it's almost like, what the fuck has happened? Like, what was going on in this world where we're turning on each other and we're trying to destroy each other? Where's the support? Where's the love? Where's the compassion? Where's the exemplification of everything that people stand for?
Yeah. Well, people don't stand for the right thing. So let's begin there. You know what I mean? Like, the majority of people stand for, like you said, I am out for me. I am trying to get the most dollars that I possibly can. And what you going to do with all that? You're going to make a bed out of the money? Like, come on.
Right.
Like, I don't.
Right.
So,
and it all comes down to accountability. Like, I don't think we are taught in school. I think if we were taught in schools basic things, it doesn't even have to do with religion. If you're taught how to care about your neighbor, if you're taught how to consider other people's feelings, if you're taught how to speak to other people within a respectful manner, so that you're acknowledging them, but you're also respecting that they are different, that we're taught how to mix with the different cultures that exist in this country, because this is a country of many cultures. We're not taught how to mix. We're taught how to only focus on what we're used to, what we're comfortable with. We're not taught how to understand that people are different and they operate very differently. I think if we were taught some of these basic things from the ground up, I think that this would be a very different situation. I think we would be handling things very differently today.
Absolutely. And actually, I have a thing that I'm trying to start with like moms of all colors, because we're the ones who are raising the babies. The majority of women are doing the child rearing. So if
Mm-hmm.
we could, because they're not going to do it in school. Emotional
Right.
intelligence has never been important at school. It's not going to start being so now. So if we could do like a program just among moms, like I was telling my friend, like, help me start a blog for it, just to get the information out there. And if we could just teach our kids the same things about love, respect, humanity,
Mm-hmm.
then when they leave our homes, they'll grow into adults who can operate that way, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to operating like adults do now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I was taught to open doors for people, not because they were male or female. I was just taught to open doors to people. Like you be polite, you consider the other person, you know, open the door. Okay. And so I always do that. It's funny because people think I'm weird. They're expecting me to like expect something back or like I'm supposed to do something for it. And I'm like, no, like I'm opening the door for you so you can go in. So it's like just this basic and they stick with you. Like if you're taught that as a child, they stick with you all the way through your like
Mm-hmm.
adulthood. Just those little simple lessons. And then there's more to it than that because then you start to really feel when you smile at another, like when I'm like walking in the trails and I see someone and I smile, they smile back and there's something that shifts in them, right? There's like a shift that happens in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just smile like fake smile, like, it's like that's a fake smile. That's my mama smile, like that's a fake smile, right? I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about like it's this like depth, deep, drilling smile. Like I love you, I see you, I honor you, and I'm not here to hurt you. Like it's just this like intention behind it. And I think that if we started to teach from the ground up just these basic things, I think that that would make the biggest difference for the next generation and the generation after that. And it really is going to come down to the generations before that come after us because
Oh yeah,
what can we do at this
this
point?
is trash. Like,
Yeah,
it's
we're
garbage.
I think we're the
Throw it away.
representation of 2020. Yeah, and there's a really good documentary on Netflix that's coming out, and I want to talk about it on the next one because we're gonna both have to watch it. It's called Unwell, and it's about like the spiritual community and how people seek spiritual teachers and spiritual guides, and they're being taken advantage of, and they're just giving away their money. And I think it's important
Yes.
that because I think it's one of those things where I've been saying this for a while now. Like the spiritual community is really fractured, and just because someone calls themselves spiritual doesn't mean that they're a good person. That just means that they're trying to use. Some people are trying to find a path that works for them to connect with source. Some people use the term spiritual to bring themselves up to an elevated position so that they can judge and they can critique everybody. And that's no
Mm-hmm.
different than being like a Christian. Like, I'm going to sit here and damn everybody. Then there's people who are in the spiritual community who are completely taking advantage of the situation because they know that people don't have anything else and they're trying to use that opportunity to kind of get people and take advantage of them. And then you've got people who actually are trying to like build themselves up and grow spiritually and teach spiritually. And unfortunately, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like more than half of the people in the spiritual community are just really fucked up. And I'm writing an article, but that documentary I think talks a lot about this situation. I'm going to totally tune into that because I know a lot of people in the spiritual community are going to immediately start to bash it because they refuse to accept that there's this going on in the spiritual community. It's the same thing as like the political community. It's the same thing like the Christian community because in the Christian community, it's all broken in pieces too. There's like
Mm-hmm.
fractions and factions everywhere. So, all
Yeah.
right.
Just like the guy that took that girl's $500. I was like, baby, I
Yeah.
know a free Facebook group you can join to get your information.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And people like they come to me, they're like, hey, like I'm willing to pay you. Can you do some work for me? Like, and they want to pay me thousands of dollars to like to just like pretend like I'm doing something. And I'm like, no, like that's bullshit. Like, don't do that, and don't let anybody talk you into giving them your money. This is what you need to do, and then I'll give them a book or something to go actually do. I'm like,
mhm,
it's gonna take real work. Don't expect someone to fix your life for you because that's on you. And if you think that somebody's gonna fix your
mhm,
life for you, that's you're gonna basically set yourself up to have to deal with this bullshit for a long time to come. So,
exactly. And we ain't gonna move no energy to make you feel better. You got to do that.
yes, exactly. So today's e-reading question of the week has to do with a woman who is in a relationship. Well, she's not in a relationship. She likes a guy, and she wants to be able to get into a relationship with him, but he's already made it clear he doesn't want a relationship. And she's trying to figure out how to get him into a relationship because she likes him, right? And she wants to be able to move on and actually build a life with this person, get married, etc. And here's what I'm going to say. And I know some of you may not like this, but it is the truth that some of you really need to come to terms with. If you like someone, that doesn't give you the right to force that person into a relationship, period. Just because you like somebody doesn't make somebody yours. It just means that you like somebody. If you care about someone and if you like someone, you need to learn to respect their wishes. You need to understand who they are, who they're choosing to be, and embrace that reality. Because if your feelings and your sense of comfort, the sense of comfort that you get from them because you feel a certain way about them is more important than honoring their wishes and their choices, then you do not deserve to have that person in your life. And I know a lot of you are in situations like that where you care about someone, you like someone, you love someone, etc., and you feel that that entitles you to have them be your significant other. And it doesn't. It only entitles you to have those emotions. That's it. That's the only thing that person owes you, is they owe you the ability to affect you that way, but they're not even responsible for that. You are responsible for that. You're responsible for the way you feel and for what you're going to do with those feelings. And just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that you're entitled to affect or control someone beyond their wishes, beyond their free will, and beyond their choices. So if you like someone, if you care for someone, and they've made it very clear they're not interested or they do not want a relationship, you need to honor that person's wishes. And you need to move forward and find someone who does want to have a relationship with you. Because if you keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, then they're probably going to hurt you. They're probably going to break your heart. They're probably going to rebel or act out. And then you're going to be crying that they hurt you, or why are they doing this to you? Because you forced them into a situation that they didn't want to get into to begin with. And had you just accepted that and embraced that reality and moved on, you probably could have found someone who was willing to be in a relationship and who was wanting to have that with you. So again, to make it clear, your feelings towards someone does not entitle them to have to be accountable to that. Those are your feelings. If they have chosen something for themselves, you need to honor those choices and find someone who would want to have a relationship with you. Okay? I wish you all the best. I love you all. And I know some of you are going to be pissed off about this, but it is the reality of the situation. So you need to honor free will and honor people's choices because they have the right to have those choices. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, sweetie?
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, FYI, there's baby energy around you. So if you're not planning on having a child, or if you're not expecting anything with babies, be careful because I'm seeing baby energy around you. And normally when I see that, it usually means that someone could be more fertile than usual. They could be celebrating their baby shower. They can be having a baby, or there might be some reproductive stuff that needs to be paid attention. So I'm seeing that around you. So within the next 3 months, be cautious, okay?
Okay.
All right. What did you want to ask me?
My son passed away 2 days before Christmas. So I just wanted to see if there was anything that he wanted to tell me.
You said son?
Yes.
Yeah. So your son is with 4 people. There's a grandmother, and then there's 3 males. Are both his grandfathers passed?
One of his grandfathers is, yes.
Okay. There's another male there on that level. So this would be like a grandfather, and then it could be the grandfather's brother, but there's like it's on the same level. There's those 2 males. There's another male that is the brother or the husband of a friend or a cousin. So there's another guy that's there who probably passed suddenly or unexpectedly because he makes me feel like he passed pretty fast. And he wants to let everybody know that he's okay. And there's a junior connection to him as well. But there's also a junior connection to your son. So I've got like 2 separate junior names popping up. Was your son a junior, or does he share his name with someone?
Well, my grandfather who died, he was named after him. His middle name is Jesse, after him.
Got it.
And
okay.
so
Okay. And then the other guy, the one that's like the husband or the brother of a friend or a cousin, is he also a junior, or was he also someone?
Well, actually, that was my ex-boyfriend, and that was his nickname, Junior.
Okay. Were you somehow
But
related? I guess that's weird. Were you somehow related, or did you have another connection to your ex besides just knowing him directly? There
no,
wasn't like another friend y'all were connected to, or another person that y'all were somehow tied to?
no. Well, no. I mean, but I do have I have two young cousins who passed away before my son passed away. He passed away with two of his friends.
Okay.
And then about maybe a couple of months before he passed away, one of his friends passed away.
Okay. So
So
is there a Gennaro or Gennaro, Henaro, or it's a G name. A Guillermo. Is there like a G name like that that's in
that's
spirit?
his best friend's name.
Oh, okay. So his best friend's
Mhm.
Guillermo?
Yes, that's
Okay.
his name.
But his
He's
best
alive.
friend's still alive, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's wanting to acknowledge his best friend. Now, and when you go back over the recording, remember the other guys, because I want to make sure they all get their say with whoever they need to pass on the message to. But your son is acknowledging his best friend, so he wants to acknowledge his best friend. Do you know if his best friend's been doing a lot more drinking and driving, or been just kind of really not being okay?
I really don't know. I need to
Okay.
check in with him.
You need to check with him, because if he's doing more drinking and driving, he's almost getting on his best friend's ass. Like, he needs to stop. So he's almost wanting to check in with him, make sure he's okay. He's also acknowledging 5 tattoos. Do you know people are going to be getting tattoos, and there's going to be 5 of them?
We've all got different tattoos.
Got it. He's just acknowledging all the different tattoos, so he's making reference to that as well. He also says, "You are a good mom. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, telling everybody that you could have done better, or you could." He's like, "I don't want to hear that, Mom. I don't want to hear it." He says, "You're a good mom. You're a good mom." And he says, "You've done the best by me. You've always thought about me. You were there when nobody else was there." Was his dad not part of the picture? Was his dad missing? Because he's acknowledging, like, you were there when my dad wasn't there. So I was like trying to figure out where he was going with that. So he's acknowledging that. He says, "You were there when my dad wasn't there. You were there feeding me. You were there clothing me. You were there wiping my ass." He says, "You were a good mom." He says, "Nothing you did in your life was wrong." So he says, "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it." He also says, did y'all call him the prince, or was he referred to as the prince because he's acknowledging, like, being the prince, or like being was he the only boy?
No.
Okay. I don't know where he's going to with the prince, or he's acknowledging the prince. So if he's not talking about himself, he's talking about the prince, but he's referencing something about a prince. You know what? I'm seeing a crown, like a literal crown on someone's head. So there might be a picture of someone where they put on a crown, or he's got himself with the crown in some picture somewhere. But there's a reference to wearing something on my head and looks like a crown, because he's acknowledging that. He also keeps acknowledging that he's the one that caused the picture to break. So did y'all have a picture break or picture fall?
Yeah, in our living room.
Okay, because he's acknowledging that he tried to get y'all's attention. He also says, okay. You heard him while you were asleep, or you were half awake. He says, because he's talked to you and he said you heard him. You heard him. So he says that was him. He was just trying to let you know that he was with you, and that was him. He also, thank you. There's a little dog that's there as well, and there's also a bigger dog. Did y'all have 2 dogs that passed, a little one and a big one? Because he says the dogs are with him.
Oh, yeah. We had a pit bull.
Yeah.
And then a little dog, Lily,
Yeah.
my son's dog.
Yeah. Well, he was saying Lulu, and I was trying to figure out where he was going with that, but that makes sense because I thought it was Lulu. Yeah, but he's acknowledging the dogs being there as well. He also keeps referencing George or Jorge. Is there a George or Georgie or Jorge connection?
Not that I can think of right now.
I'm trying to ask him where that's going. Do you know of someone who was murdered that's connected to your son? Or was shot?
One of his friend, the one who died before him, like maybe a couple of months before he died.
Okay, so he's acknowledging that person being with him, but he added on that George or Georgie or Gio. It's almost like he's trying to say something.
Is it Giovanni?
Is that the friend's name?
That's his cousin. That's my nephew. His name's Giovanni. Okay. And we call him Joey.
Okay. Is he passed?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. He's just trying to tell me everybody that's with him. He's got the guy that passed away or was murdered. He's got Gio or Giovanni with him. So he's trying to tell me everybody that's there. Your son loves you. He loves you. And he's not even like trying to like sugarcoat that. He's like, I love you. I love you. So he's almost like wanting to come across that way. He also says, "Wear my hat, Ma. Wear my hat." So I don't know if you have his hat that you can wear sometimes, but he says, "Wear my hat. Wear my hat." So he's acknowledging the hat, and he's wanting you to wear that whenever you want to talk to him because he'll hear you. He's okay. He's okay.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure you know that you're not a bad mother.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my
Sweet.
God. Yeah, he's always coming to me, and he always brings me feathers all the time.
Yeah.
Like I literally have a jar full of feathers that I'm always finding, feathers and dimes.
Yeah.
And I know that he's with me. And that really happened not even a week ago. I had just told some people that I felt like if his body went into me, I was in my bed and I literally felt the weight of him. Like if it just kind of felt like his soul went into my soul. And I felt it. And then like 2 days later, I heard him. He said, "Mom," like in my ear. And I jumped up out of the bed. And then I was like, "Marcus." And I talk to him all the time. I have pictures of him all over my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like everything is about him.
Yeah, no,
But
he knows how much you love him, and I think he's trying really hard to let you know he was around you. By the way, the dimes are not him. The dimes are a grandfather. So there's a grandfather that's dropping the dimes around. It might be, is your dad's pass? Your dad's dad?
my dad's dad and my mom's dad. My mom's dad, the one that he's named after, I was very close to him.
Well, the what's interesting is your dad's dad is the one that's dropping coins. Even though you might have been closer to your mom's dad, your dad's dad is dropping the coins. He's been wanting to apologize. Are there stories about him, or are there things about him that people can
We
say?
don't know nothing about him.
Okay.
He was never a part of my dad's life.
Okay, he's just apologizing, and there might be stories that have to do with him and your dad, and what they thought happened to him or who he was as a person before he was out of the picture. But he's apologizing, and he's been wanting to apologize to your father for some time, so he's acknowledging that. So he's just wanting to get that out there to everybody, but he's just wanting to use this opportunity to say, "I'm sorry." But your son is okay, and he is with you.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, sweetheart. You take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Hello? Hello?
Oh, sorry.
Hey!
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, how are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm loving that hair.
Thank you, man. It's growing a little bit.
Awesome. What did you want to ask me?
So, actually, having a real tough time going through a custody battle with my son's mother. Always on us, always making trouble. A few weeks ago, she actually came and she fought us in our yard, and she made it away with my son. I didn't want to chase him down. My son was screaming. He was terrified. I just found out we have court on when? The 27th. So I'm just wondering how that'll turn out. I don't know.
So I don't feel great about it. I think that she's going to claim a technicality that you broke, or a technicality that got like messed up somehow. And so it may not go 100% in your favor. And so I feel like you're going to have to deal with it again, or come back and like fight against the ruling, because I feel like whoever's making the decision in the courtroom doesn't have all the story, or doesn't have all the pieces or information. And I also think that y'all probably need to get some sort of a background on her, because I feel like is she not mentally stable, or she have like a really bad history of like getting in trouble?
I don't know if she has a history. I don't know much of it, but she's bananas, man.
Okay, I feel like she's not mentally stable, and I feel like she might actually be borderline personality. And so y'all probably need to like, and it's difficult because she is the mother, and many times the mother, just by nature, they assume, especially, and they do this especially with black males, they automatically assume, oh, bad father, or black male, he's a bad father, he's not a, they automatically start to think that way. And so you're going to have to validate that this situation is unique in that she's not well, and that she's making it sound a certain way to kind of fit the narrative that they normally go by. So I feel like you're going to have to prove that she's not okay. You can probably get a background check done on her, because that may show issues in her past that she probably doesn't even want you to know about, because it can be used against her. I also think that y'all may be able to get a witness that is connected to her family or connected to her to speak on y'all's behalf. And I think that will help to push it over the top. If you don't get all that done and prepared for the case, for the court date, I think that's not going to go in your favor, which right now that's what I'm thinking, is that it may not go 100% in your favor, but I think you're going to fight it. And I think when you come back, you'll have both of those pieces in place. That will make the difference. And I think you'll be able to go ahead and get custody again.
Thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Be prepared, because this is going to be a pain in the ass, man.
It's been heavy for a long time, man.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, you take care of yourself.
All right, appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Oh my God!
Hi, Lupe. How you doing?
Oh my God! I can't believe
How
it!
you doing, sweetheart?
I'm so in shock, Dad.
Oh.
Bless you for picking me.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart. What did you want to
Thank
ask
you
me?
for sharing your gift.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
I want to know if my mom ever loved me. Did she forgive me?
Let me see if
Was I a good daughter to her?
there are 2 women in spirit who are motherly to you. Do you also have a mother-in-law that's passed as well?
No.
Okay, there's another mother figure in spirit who acts like she was your mother as well. So even though you're asking about your mom, there's another woman in spirit that's like a mother to you. So she's acknowledged as well. So say that again.
My grandma, my mom's mom.
Did she raise you like you were her daughter?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it, because she's calling herself your mom. Your grandma is so tough. Like, she don't like to play around. Your grandma could be a bit tough with other people. She was also very protective and defensive. So do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, your grandmother, let me first say what your grandmother wants to say, and then I'll ask your mom. Your grandmother is wishing a happy birthday. So is someone celebrating a birthday in the last week or the last 2 weeks?
And the last week's my sister.
Okay, so your grandmother is wanting to wish her happy birthday, so she's acknowledging that. Your grandmother also says that she sends white doves or birds to you because that's a symbol from your grandmother. So she says that.
And I have doves.
Oh, okay, got it. So she's acknowledging the connection to the white doves. She also wants you to know that she's the one that has been trying to wake you up in the middle of the night. So I don't know if you've been finding yourself waking up and you don't know why you keep waking up at the same time.
I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
why do I wake up like this? With such...
She's trying to wake you up because she's been wanting to connect with you, and she's been wanting to bring your mother through because she says your mother has some things she wants to tell you. So your grandmother says she's the one that made this connection happen with you today. She also says that when you smell the flowers, that's also your grandmother also. So she says that's going to come coming from her. All right, now with your mom. Your mom is apologizing to you because she feels that she didn't do the best job that she should have done as a mother. So she's apologizing to you. She also says she doesn't blame you for being angry or resentful towards her and not wanting to be there. So she says, you don't have to be angry with me. I forgive you, but you don't need to ask me for forgiveness. You need to forgive me because I should have done more for you. So that's what your mother is telling you, okay? Your mother is also acknowledging that she's been dropping coins around. Have you been seeing coins or finding coins in random places?
I have pennies everywhere, and I just like,
Perfect.
I think maybe that's her, and I think, nah, it's not her. She wouldn't do that.
She's dropping pennies around because she says that's her way of trying to give you something, and that's her way. She says they limit how much money they can give us, so she can only give you a penny. So she says that she's been trying to leave you these coins around. Your mother also says that, thank you, there's a baby with her in spirit. Do you know if there was a baby that was miscarried, lost, or terminated, or someone lost a child? Got it. She's acknowledging the baby being with her as well. She also, thank you. Is there a Lucia or Lucita or Lucinda or Luciana?
Luz.
Who's Luz?
My mom.
Okay, she's just trying to give me her name. So she's acknowledging her name and referencing that. She also says that, thank you. Did you say a prayer for her in Mass, or did you ask her for forgiveness in the church?
Yes.
She says she heard you when you did that. She knows what you feel. She knows what's in your heart. She says you don't have to keep asking her for forgiveness. She says she doesn't want you to feel like you have to ask her for this. She doesn't want that anymore. She says she is asking you for forgiveness, and she wants you to know that she loves you, and that when she was alive, she wasn't okay in her head, and she didn't always know how to be okay because she wasn't well in her mind. Do you understand that? She was sick. Okay, and that's why she acted the way she did sometimes, because she wasn't okay in her head. But she says she did love you.
She did love me.
She did love you. She also thanked you for the rosary. Did you buy a rosary for her?
I have rosaries everywhere.
Okay. She's acknowledging the rosary, so she's referencing that. She also says she wants you to watch your blood sugar because she says you're not taking care of yourself. And she says that you need to be careful with your blood sugar because your circulation and the tingling that you're feeling might actually have to do with your blood sugar. So she wants you to be careful.
Thank you. My hands were tingling earlier.
Thank you. So she's wanting you to be careful. So pay attention to yourself, okay?
Thank you. And thank you for sharing your gift
Oh,
with us. And may God bless you
you're
and
welcome.
illuminate you with more
Oh,
spiritual
you're welcome.
guidance.
All right. You take care of
Thank
yourself,
you.
okay?
Thank you. May God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.